What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another Teen Mom OG recap, and this is the season finale, which aired on Monday, December 17th on MTV. So the show started off with Caitlin and Tyler, and they're getting ready to live separately, so they're just having a conversation about their arrangements, getting ready to move out. Caitlin says that her therapist advised her to start suggesting ideas to Tyler, instead of asking him about things and the timing of them moving out. So once they started to talk about that, Tyler kind of rubbed Caitlin the wrong way by saying, should it even matter, like the time or anything? And we know how Tyler talks sometimes. He just kind of nonchalant, like in the midst of a conversation. And that kind of throws Caitlin, she's just at kind of a loss for a minute. Like, well, we was just talking about this and now you're talking like it don't even matter. So sometimes he just doesn't seem as serious as he should be when they're having serious conversations. So he was like, do it even matter like what time that we move out? We're going to do this. We're going to do it. But doesn't matter if I move out like a week earlier or not. And Caitlin just feels like he's not taking it seriously. And she was like, you don't have to sound so rude about it, like you really don't care or whatever. And he like, I'm not being rude, I'm just being real. That's how Tyler's expressing himself. And she's used to how he is. But at the same time, I could understand what she's saying. Like, come on now, grow up. We're adults now. We're married. We trying to separate so that we can bring our marriage back together better and stronger. We just have to figure out who we are as individuals. So, yeah. So Cheyenne and Corey, they go out to eat and he bring her a bouquet of flowers, a bunch for her and a bunch for Ryder. And then he talks about them being together, which the conversation ended very quickly. And they kind of had some words in between. He ended up telling her to just do her and go her own way. So Amber's depression has been taking a toll on her a lot lately. And she's just haven't been in a good place. She's even been having thoughts of suicide. And she said that she and Andrew haven't been good lately. And everything is just taking a toll on her. Everything is just weighing down on her. So Ryan's parents went along with Macy and Taylor to take the kids out trick-or-treating. And then later on that evening, Jen, she texts Macy to let her know that Ryan will be getting out of rehab soon. Macy says that just because he's going to be getting out of rehab soon, that doesn't automatically means that everything is going to be fine as far as him seeing Bentley again on a regular basis. She also don't want him to think that she's not rooting for him, because she is. She wants the best for him. But she want him to know that it's just not going to be that easy for him to just jump back into Bentley's life. In other words, that's what she was saying. Without proving himself to be a better person. So Bristol is meeting with a therapist who's going to help her communicate better with Dakota. This therapist, she specializes in patients with PTSD. And so she'll be able to help Bristol identify Dakota's triggers. Or she'll be able to help her identify his triggers and, just replace certain things that she say with a more lighter way of expressing herself to him when she's trying to talk with him, because he's always like on the defense. So she said that he's always been insecure and thinking that she's trying to beat him to something all the time. And he would constantly move out. She said that one thing stuck out the most about his struggles is that he's always running from confrontations when there really isn't none to begin with. So she's basically trying again to make it look like that he's the one with the problem, and she's this innocent little victim wife, ex-wife now, who was married to a paranoid ex, combat soldier who's suffering from PTSD. And like I've said in older videos, I said that it just seems like it's something that she's leaving out. And they always putting her in a light to look like the person who tries so hard to make their relationship and their co-parenting work. And it just makes it like the show makes Dakota look like the more difficult one to deal with between those two. So Cheyenne is giving a damn 1-year anniversary party for Corey for him finding out that Ryder is his biological daughter. I have never heard of anything like this before. On top of that, she throwing a party for him. I don't know. But anyway, then she's giving a speech about meeting him, and I just wonder, like, how can a family, I just was wondering, how can a family love someone like him as much as they do? And then I found out because he was just there for me. Once he found out that Ryder was his daughter, he was just there for me and in the best way ever. And I'm like, well, shouldn't he supposed to have been there? He's a father. Stop rewarding people for doing things that they're supposed to do. I mean, when Father's Day come around, give him a Father's Day gift like people do on Father's Day. I mean, why gotta be all this? This is just too much. It was like so extra with it all. So Caitlyn says that she's been in a really good place. And oh, let me backtrack real quick. So yeah, so why Cheyenne is giving this speech, she started crying and everything, and then they put the camera on Corey. He's crying and blowing her kisses, like, oh my God. Anyway, next. So Caitlyn says that she's been in a pretty good place lately, and now she's been texting Amber, and Amber and her been talking about depression and everything, and she also told her about her suicidal thoughts, and her mental health it's just been getting real bad. So that's what these two ladies have been talking about. Andrew gave Amber some advice. I'm sorry, not Andrew. Not Andrew. You guys, I'm so sorry. Gary gave Amber some advice about just tuning out a lot of negative comments. So I'm assuming they had already had that conversation about her and her depression worsening and everything like that. So he just told her, just tune out social media. Just try that out, because I mean, even if you block people, it's still gonna get to you. So just try not to think about it the best you can. And I think that was really sweet of Caitlyn to go and show Amber some support, because after they'd spoken everything over the phone, she asked Tyler, he thinks it's a good idea if he go and pay her a visit. And I think that it was really good that she went by to speak with Caitlyn and everything, because we all know that Caitlyn has suffered from depression, and she went away to rehab for a while, and that's why she gave Amber this advice to do the same thing she did. And but we also know that when Caitlyn came back, she wanted to return back to the rehab, and this is where things took a turn for the worse in their marriage at like the worst time possible, because this is when Tyler was like, it kind of seems like sometimes she just like going away. I mean, I know she got a problem, but you keep running away. Like, is it really helping? You went the first time, you came back home, then you had to go right back. Like, so I could kind of understand what he's saying, but I would still be much more sensitive about it, because if you haven't suffered a mental illness, you don't know what someone else is going through. That's why I have a soft place in my heart for people who deal with mental illness. I mean, I've been depressed before. I know what it feels like to suffer from depression, but it's never gotten to the point where I've seen a lot of people had to go to rehab, had to take medication and stuff like that. But still in all, I really sympathize with people who go through that, like in the worst way, and people who contemplate suicide. And it hurts. It hurts me to know that people are really feeling that way. Like they don't know what else to do. That really hurts me. That really touches my heart, like seriously. So Bristol and Dakota, they meet up, and she asked him, she was like, so give me advice on how can I communicate with you better. Like she's using all of the phrases that the therapist told her to say to him once they met up. And Dakota, he came out like in full defense mode. He even said stuff like, you can stop acting like this because you're only acting for the show. You're only doing this when the cameras come on. Stop acting like you just this innocent person and everything, like you're so nice. And and I'm like, again, it's like he's saying the same thing that I kind of assumed. I don't know, but it just kind of seems like that a lot. Like they just put him in the negative light all the time. And we know what he's suffering from. But at the same time, they just don't show anything other than that. It's like that's her only storyline, is to talk about dealing with Dakota and how difficult it's been dealing with him suffering from the PTSD. And so I'm telling you, he just came at her like, look, cut the BS. I'm not about to deal with you with this. I don't need you to come meet me. Like, so what is it that I can help you with to help me? Like, I mean, he just straight up cut it out, like just like that. He wasn't here for it. He shut her completely down. He wasn't going for it. So that meeting didn't go good at all. She got up and left. So Mason Taylor met with Ryan's parents, and they were talking about meeting with Ryan as soon as he get out of rehab. Ryan's dad, he got so choked up talking about Ryan and how he had to handle him when Ryan got out, got real bad on drugs, and how much it had hurt him to have to deal with his son that way. And he had to just start loving his son from a distance. And we know how close-knit their little family is. We've seen this like from the very beginning. And I know it had to hurt his dad, to just imagine how it used to be with them, and then how that happened with Ryan and his addiction, and how that changed their relationship. I mean, and I sympathize with them on that as well. And then Macy, she got a bit choked up. She even made a comment. If I'm not mistaken, she said that Ryan never told her that he loved her. And so his parents was like, we love you, Macy. We love you, And so she was crying and everything. Yeah, a very deep moment right there. So I can't wait to see Ryan when he gets out. So Tyler has made it. He's meeting with his mom and his stepfather, and they just asking him, do he really understand what's about to happen now before they go into this separation thing? And he was just going on and on about Caitlin. Tyler talk real fast sometimes. I can't even keep up. But he was like, I mean, it's common sense. And then his stepdad said, well, no, it's not common sense. There's no common sense in separation. Like, this is serious business here. Y'all grown now. You got to act like adults. You can't just take that title on if you're still going to be acting like teenagers. This is something to take serious now. So, yeah, so Tyler just goes off and stuff. And he was just feeling like, I don't need y'all to be telling me nothing. And I know how to deal with this. And this here about sympathy and everything towards Caitlin and blah, blah, blah. So Cheyenne is on the phone with her friend, and she telling her after the Halloween party, her and Corey, they had a very interesting night. So we know what that means. And then she says she don't really even know what it's going to be like. And I'm like, if anything, girl, you're in denial about you want him to be like serious about you and committed to you, but you don't want to be like that with him. If anything, that's what she really wants it to be like. And she want to be able to do what she want to do. She's selfish. That's what she seems very selfish to me. So, Amber, she claims that she appreciates Caitlin coming to visit her, but she's not going to take her advice about going to the rehab. So she calls the producers, and she doesn't want to film at this point. But she lets them know she don't want to film anymore. She thinks it's best if she leaves the show because of her depression. And they figure, well, how about we just change the storyline? You just focus on family, and she just go off. Like, how about now? And how about this and that? And I just don't do this because I put my life on TV. And I'm like, well, yeah, you did that. So I don't know. sometimes I'm just at a loss for words because I try to keep it sensitive toward these people's situations. I've seen them from the beginning of season 1. And, I sympathize with her at the same time. When she go off, I'm like, I'm going to just be quiet. Yeah, I'm going to just be quiet. I'm just not going to say nothing. Just let her, have her way in the moment and vent and do the this she needs to do or say and stuff like that. Yeah. So the producers are looking pretty disgusted at this point because they don't know what to do to try to convince her to stay on the show and stuff like that. So she's just crying and everything, and she just feel like that, social media played a lot in her just feeling the way she do most of the time, and they played a lot in her social media and her being on the show, reality show. She's saying that the show, they contribute a lot to her depression and stuff like that, just putting her life on Front Street, and stuff like that, just putting her life. So that's pretty much how this season's episode ended. And Tyler and Caitlyn, they're talking, and she was upset when she made it back home because he still hadn't moved out. So that's how it ended. I mean, that's pretty much it. So anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you so much for watching. If you all enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. And